This will be for the con exercise, Systems of Equations with Elimination Challenge. So just some notes before we begin. This is for a system of equations when you have two equations and two variables, okay? In this exercise, the variables will be x and y. And what you're allowed to do, you can multiply either equation by any number except 0. You can add or subtract the equations from each other. And the goal is to get one variable to drop out. All right, so you'll see that when we do the exercises. Now, once you finish these 3 steps, you want to solve for one variable. Then you plug it into either equation and solve for the other variable. All right, so again, you will see that when we do the exercise. All right, they want us to solve the system of equations. We have 2 equations here with x and y variables, and they have a space for both of them. Okay, we said you can multiply either equation by any number except 0. So the first thing you want to do is check the coefficients on each respective variable and see if one is a multiple of the other. Okay, and you want to see if you can multiply by an integer, okay, not a fraction or a decimal, and see if you can get the other one. So forget about positive or negative for now. Let's look at the x's, okay, and is there anything we can multiply by to go from 6 to 7? Well, the answer is no, okay, unless you use a fraction, you cannot multiply anything by 6 and get 7. Now, let's look at the y's. The coefficient on the y's are 5 and 8. Is there anything we can multiply by 5 and get 8? Again, the answer is no. Without getting into fractions, there's nothing you can do there. So now we'll move on to the other method. All right, I like to call it the crisscross method, but anyhow, you want to use parentheses on both equations. And you want to look at the coefficients, either for the x's or for the y's, and try to choose the easier numbers or the smaller numbers. All right, here we have 6 and 7, here we have 5 and 8. I'm going to go with 5 and 8. Okay, you can use either one. But what I'm going to do, and again, don't worry about plus or minus, I'm going to take the 5 and put it right there. And now you crisscross, you take the 8 and you put it right there. All right, and now we are going to distribute. All right, basically, by distributing, we're multiplying both sides of the equal sign by the same number. You can multiply both sides by the same number. As long as you do both sides of the equal sign, you have to distribute. 8 times 6x is going to give us 48x. 8 times negative 5y is negative 40y. Keep the equal sign. And 8 times negative 32 is negative 256. All right, let me move this over a little bit. All right, negative 256. Same thing on the bottom. 5 times negative 7x, and try to line it up underneath. 5 times negative 7x is negative 35x. 5 times 8y is 40y. Keep the equal sign. And 5 times 46, that's going to be 200 plus 30, that's going to be 230. All right, use your calculator if you're not sure and you want to check your work. Now, we said you can add or subtract the equations from each other, and the goal is to get a variable to drop out. So here we have negative 40y and positive 40y. If we add these, we'll get 0. This will drop out, so let's do that. Okay, I'm going to take these 2 equations here and add them. All right, so 48 plus negative 35 8 minus 5 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1, and we still have the x. Negative 40y plus 40y, that cancels. Bring down the equal sign. Negative 256 plus 230 is going to be negative 26. All right, again, use the calculator if you need to. Solving for x, this is 13 times x. The opposite of times 13 is divided by 13. You want to do that to both sides. 13 over 13 cancels, and x equals negative 2. All right, so we have one variable. You want to take that and plug it in. All right, you can plug it into either equation. All right, so I'm going to go right here. X is negative 2, so I'm going to sub in the negative 2 right there. All right, so I'm going to have 6 times negative 2 minus 5y equals negative 32. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Minus 5y equals negative 32. All right, you want numbers on one side and variables on the other. So the opposite of negative 12 is positive 12. You have to do that to both sides of the equal sign. Cancels here. Bring down your negative 5y. Bring down your equal sign. And negative 32 plus 12 is negative 20. Solving for y, the opposite of times negative 5 is divided by negative 5. Cancels here. Negative 20 divided by negative 5 is going to be positive 4. All right, so that's y. And that is your final answer. X is negative 2, y is 4. Click in the box, negative 2 for x, positive 4 for y. All right, next up, another set of equations here. Once again, you want to check and see if you can multiply the coefficient on either variable to get the other one. See if the equation, see if one coefficient is a multiple of the other one. All right, so let's look at the y's first. Can we multiply anything by 2 and get 7 without getting into fractions? No, we cannot. Can we multiply anything by 5 and get 10 without going into fractions? Yes. If we do 5 times 2, we get a 10. Okay, again, don't worry about positive or negative. If we do 5 times 2, we get a 10. So I'm going to take the times 2 and apply it to this whole equation. So this 5 turns into a 10. All right, so just like last time, use parentheses. And I'm going to do times 2. Okay, so let's see if I have room here. I might have to make this smaller. All right, I got an idea. I'll multiply it and write it right underneath. Okay, remember, we're multiplying both sides of the equal sign by 2. You have to distribute. So we have 2 times 2y. That's going to give us 4y. We have 2 times negative 5x. That's going to give us negative 10x. We have 2 times negative 18. That's negative 36. Keep the equal sign. And of course, 2 times 0 is just 0. Now I'm going to erase this just for now. All right, and we said the second step, you can add or subtract the equations from each other. So let's see. Here we have positive 10x and negative 10x. So if we add these together, these will cancel. So I'm going to add. If these were both positive or both negative, we would subtract. 7y plus 4y is 11y. 10x plus negative 10x cancels. Negative 8 plus negative 36 gives us negative 44. And 0 plus 0 is just 0. All right, letters on one side, numbers on the other. So I'm going to add 44. The opposite of negative 44 is positive 44. All right, I'm going to do that to both sides. Bring down your 11y. 44 and negative 44 cancel. Bring down the equals. 0 plus 44 gives us 44. All right, the opposite of 11 times y, or y times 11, is divided by 11. You do that to both sides. 11's cancel. 44 over 11 is just 4. All right, so y equals 4. You want to take that and plug it in. All right, we said either equation is fine, so I'm going to erase this mess here. All right, you can plug it in either one. Since I'm plugging in y and 2 is easier to work with than 7, I'm going to go with this equation right here. All right, y equals 4. That goes right in there. So we're going to do 2 times 4. Minus 5x minus 18 equals 0. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus 5x minus 18 equals 0. All right, keep the numbers on one side and the letters on the other. The opposite of negative 5x is positive 5x. Do that to both sides of the equal sign. 5x minus 5x is gone. 8 minus 18 is negative 10. Bring down the equals. 0 plus 5x is 5x. The opposite of x times 5 is divided by 5. Do that to both sides. The 5's cancel. And negative 10 divided by 5 gives us negative 2. All right, that's your x. And y is 4, x is negative 2. All right, y is 4. Click in the box, x is negative 2. All right, last one. Again, look at the coefficients on the y's and the x's. See if you can multiply by anything to get from one to the other without using fractions. Already I can see the coefficients on the y's. To get from 4 to 16, we can do times 4. Okay, so I'm going to take this top equation and do times 4. All right, 4 times negative 4y is negative 16y. 4 times 7x is 28x. Keep the equals. 4 times 49 is going to be 196. Now notice we have matching terms, negative 16y and negative 16y. So we can't add. In this case, we are going to subtract. All right. Make sure that negative sign gets distributed to each term. Negative 16y minus negative 16y, that cancels. 28x minus 9x is going to be 19x. Bring down the equal sign. 196 minus 63. Let's see. 6 minus 3 is 3. 19 minus 6 is 13. All right, the opposite of x times 19 is divided by 19. Cancels here. And I'm going to do this one on the calculator. And I get 7. That's x equals 7. Okay, the final step is to take that x equals 7 and plug it in. Okay, you can plug it into either equation and then solve for y. I'll just do it real quick in case you want to try it. If you plug it in 7 in here, you'll get 49. If I do minus 49 on both sides, it'll cancel. I'll have negative 4y equals 0. And then dividing both sides by negative 4, y equals 0. Just in case you wanted to solve that one for practice.